how to enhance this human being to the highest possible level that you can, success will be a downhill run, not an uphill task. What is your problem when it comes to exploring an inner dimension of such great significance to you? Is it not important that you go with somebody who's already walked the path? They go to cinema every day, they tease all your girls who walk on the street, they smoke, they drink, they do whatever they want to do with their life at your age. But you are an renounced character. You are here through the night, sitting up, reading books, listening to these people. It's worse than renunciation. Yoga has not done that to you. Yoga brings clarity to you, not confusion. There is a milk booth, as there is a public tag, as if you want a auto rickshaw, it is there. Just like that, if you want to turn inward, there must be infrastructure in the society, isn't it? If there is no infrastructure, how will you produce those people? It is these five elements which is the basic components which make this body, which made this planet, which has made the whole universe, isn't it? But when your grandmother said it, the problem is if it goes from the east, it is superstition. If it comes from the west, it becomes science.
Please relate fear, apathy and success. How to conquer fear and apathy on the way to success. That's all.
Okay. Fear about whether I will be successful or not? Where is apathy coming? No, your individual fear about whether I'll be successful or not, is that what you're talking? See, that's exactly what I've been telling you till now. Do not even think of success. Just enhance your capabilities. Strive to enhance who you are. Then what you can do, you'll anyway do, isn't it? Right now, you have an idea of success, but you don't have the competence for that. You want to go somewhere, but you don't have the legs to get there. Now, naturally there will be fear, naturally there'll be all kinds of unnecessary struggles and emotions. Instead of that, at this stage in your life, if you just focus on seeing how to enhance this human being to the highest possible level that you can, success will be a downhill run, not an uphill task. So, if you are going downhill, there is no fear, isn't it? Because whether I can get there or not, whether I can get there or not, you are working towards somebody else's idea of success. You are working towards somebody else's idea of success. That is not success. Your success is, you as a human being, you found your full potential. This is your success. And that's all you can do. Whether you stand on your head or you stand on your feet, the best that you can do, if this human being finds his fullest potential, that's all you can do. No matter what you do, you cannot do more, isn't it? Certain circumstances sometimes will loft us up, certain circumstances sometimes may not. But in the given circumstance, if you have blossomed to your fullest level, you will do well, isn't it? Don't think of success and be fearful about it. Just see how to make this one more and more capable. If the competence and capability is there, success will come as we deserve it.
Good evening, sir. I had a question. From what I understood about self-enhancing that you spoke about, I felt that there might be a need of a guide. So, is there such a necessity, and if yes, how important is the role of a guide?
How important
What is the role of a guide in self-enhancing?
of a guide?
Guide.
See, when I talk about the inner dimension, it is not a difficult place to get, but it is an uncharted terrain. It's not a place where you have traveled. So if you're traveling in a space that you are not used to, it is definitely sensible to walk with a guide. Can I not do it myself? You can. Not that you cannot. You definitely can. It is just that to find that block which is right next to this hall, you may go around the world and come back and may find it. If you talk to somebody who's walked the campus, he will say it's right here, isn't it? If you don't ask and you want to find it yourself, you may go around the world 3 times and still miss it. For that sake, you need a guide. It is always, this question is coming up as if, did you learn ABC with somebody's guidance? Did you learn how to write A with somebody's guidance? Yes. B also? Yes. When that is the case, I don't see what is the problem. It is a huge problem everywhere. Can't I do it myself? Well, did you even learn A by yourself? You learned with somebody's help, isn't it? What is your problem when it comes to exploring an inner dimension of such great significance to you? Is it not important that you go with somebody who's already walked the path? Is it not much simpler and sensible? If there is no guide anywhere, of course you have to do it yourself. But it may take a lifetime. If I give you, you're an engineer right now, but still, if I open my watch and put it into… mix it up and give it to you, the next 3-4 years of your engineering, you may be still fixing this watch. Yes, I'm telling you, if you don't give you a manual, nothing. I will just take away this watch into pieces and give it to you. You may spend 3 years just to put it back. A watch is not a new thing on this planet, isn't it? It is not a new thing in this world, but still you may take 3 years to put it together. So if you had a guidebook, how to put it together, you may do it in 10 minutes, isn't it? So that's why a guide. Definitely needed, I would say. Otherwise it'll take unnecessarily length of time. Impractical lengths of time it will take, which is not necessary, because life is after all a brief amount of time.
Sadhguru, as you told about the thing that we have to enhance our capabilities, whenever I read about literature regarding great men of India, I always find that they have renounced all their family and life in order to achieve this perfection. So as students, what are we supposed to do with regard…
When you're a student, you must renounce everything else. That's what you're supposed to do. Anyway, it's not renunciation, this is a complete misunderstanding. Right now, I go back somewhere where I meet my university time friends and school time friends, and they're little thrown off balance with me. I am with them as I was even then. Nothing has changed with me, but they are little… some of them are quite successful, very successful, many of them. Some of them are reasonably successful, whatever the failures, you don't get to meet them, we don't know where they've gone. So, it's easier to trace the successful people in the world, Others you lose contact. So, even these people who are well-to-do in their lives, they're little thrown off by my presence because they've heard so much about me these days. And then they get nervous and they pull out their cigarette and, oh, can I smoke? I say, you smoke if you want. Then they say, no, and they keep it. You don't smoke at all? I say, no, because, these days we're trying to make even automobiles which don't smoke. Why would I smoke? I don't smoke, I'm eco-friendly machine. You don't drink also? No, because I'm always… look at my eyes and see, I'm always stoned. Where is the need to drink? So, no, I'm always blissed out, so I have no need to drink. Oh, you don't do anything? Their idea of life is… after being successful, their idea of life has been condensed to this, that if they smoke 10 cigarettes a day and they have a drink in the evening, they are successful. Otherwise, anyway, they cannot sleep. Okay? Otherwise, they're anyway not able to sleep. So, such people will think I have renounced smoking and drinking and whatever. No, this is not a renunciation. This is just that if you choose something higher, say right now, there is somebody on the street, your age boys are walking around loitering, they did not go to IIT, they did not go to any college. They look at you and think you have renounced, because day and night you're looking at the book and studying, they're having fun on the street corner. In their eyes, in their perception, you have renounced everything. You have actually. They go to cinema every day, they tease all your girls who walk on the street, they smoke, they drink, they do whatever they want to do with their life at your age. But you are an renounced character. You are here through the night, sitting up, reading books, listening to these people. It's worse than renunciation. But in your mind, you know you have not renounced. You have only chosen to do something which you feel is better than that, isn't it? The same thing, somebody chose to do something that they saw as better, as a higher possibility for them. Somebody who is at a lower level of life thinks they have renounced. Nobody renounced anything.
I just want to know, this yoga is making me very delicate, and it is actually making me…
So you are one of the ardent followers, is it? Give the microphone to the students, okay, finish the question.
I just want to know, in this world, which is lot of people, if our love is boundless, some people are manipulative. So, should we restrict it, or should we not expect anything? How to handle it?
What is this question? Yoga is making you delicate? What is that?
It's making my love boundless. It's not making me to choose people in workplace, in personal life, I'm meaning to say. There are a lot of backstabbers around.
You're beginning to fall in love with your neighbors also. Now, please understand this. The yoga that you're practicing is about enhancing the interiority of who you are. The outside has to be conducted as it needs to be conducted. When you do not know how to conduct the outside, you think it's because of your love. It's not so. It's just because of your stupidity that you cannot conduct the situation the way you want it, isn't it? So if you're driving on the street and you see a buffalo, and if you go give it a kiss and say, please, I love you, please move away, buffalo is not the problem, isn't it? You're the problem, yes or no? Is buffalo the problem? Buffalo is behaving according to its nature. You are not behaving according to your nature. That's the problem with you. So, that is not because of love, that is because of confusion and whatever, and that definitely yoga has not done that to you. Yoga brings clarity to you, not confusion. So, our ability to handle situations, if they're impaired because of some fanciful idea of love or whatever nonsense you have, then that's not love, that's just you're silly and soft in your head, isn't it? Should love empower you? Okay, even if you're loving, should love empower you or impair you? It should empower you, isn't it? If it's impairing you, it's not love. You have some convoluted idea about love. If you love somebody, will you do pretty things to them always, or will you do what's needed? Huh? Well, you'll do what's needed, isn't it? If you have a child and you love this child, if you have to feed him, you feed him, if you have to hug him, you hug him, if you have to whack him, you whack him. You do what's needed, isn't it? So, love does not make you lose your discretion. If you're losing your discretion, it is because you're becoming a Dhritarashtra. You know Dhritarashtra problem? Nation is right now gripped with Dhritarashtra problem. Don't know what that is? Don't know what Dhritarashtra is? Dhritarashtra. You heard of the man? That guy. He is the biggest influence right now in the country.
So we have understood that you are so blissful by just seeing you and hearing you talk. But going through the history, we find it so rare. Why is it so rare that we get to enlighten people?
It is not rare, it is just that a lot of them were not famous, that's all. They just quietly lived blissfully. It's not rare. There's substantial history in this country where every generation saw any number of enlightened beings in the past. Today it is rare because, see, suppose you went to just the outskirts of Chennai 100 years ago, it would be rare to find a person who can read a Tamil letter, forget about an English letter. Yes? If you walked into your village, you had to search the whole village to get one man who can read a Tamil script, local language, not even a foreign language. Today if you go there, almost 100% everybody can read Tamil, at least 60%, I believe, at least 50% can read English language. Yes? Why did this happen? Because there's infrastructure, isn't it? There's infrastructure of education, so it happened. Unfortunately, in the past, there was phenomenal infrastructure in this country for inner well-being. This is the only society which built a lot of infrastructure for inner well-being. But today there's very little infrastructure. So this is one of the commitments that we have for the world, that we want to build infrastructure where it's purely for inner well-being of the human being. Because there is no infrastructure for human consciousness. That's the reason why it's not happening. Here and there, one man could read in the past. Why? Because there was no infrastructure. If that man has to go to school, he has to travel 100 kilometers, so he did not go. That whole village did not go, only one guy went somehow. So the same now, if you have to know something about yourself, you have to go to Vellangiri Hills, Isha Yoga Center. You never made it, isn't it? You went. You are those ardent ones. So I'm saying if there was that kind of infrastructure in every street, there was infrastructure for inner well-being, beyond faith, beyond religion, beyond denominations, just as there is a milk booth. You understand? As there is a milk booth, as there is a public tap, I won't talk about toilets, there aren't any. So as there is a milk booth, as there is a public tap, as if you want a auto rickshaw, it is there, just like that, if you want to turn inward, there must be infrastructure in the society, isn't it? If there is no infrastructure, how will you produce those people? You will not produce them. That's what is missing, we need to put that back.
You said that water has some memory.
Yes.
Is there any viability to bring that memory level to our life or something? Is there any scientific evidence or spiritual evidence or some other evidences available for that? Basically, as I am a chemist, I am telling this.
Okay. Today, is it okay if I walk down into you? Today, particularly in the last 4.5 years, phenomenal amount of research has gone into water and its water potential. This started off inadvertently because of the way the usable water in the world is receding per person. In India, for example, in 1947, doesn't like me. In 1947, how much water an average Indian had, potable water? Today, we have only 20% of that. They say by 2025, we'll have only 7% of what we had in 1947 per person. Per capita water, only that much will be available. So because of this, lot of research has gone into water. It went mostly from this line, but slowly they went deeper and deeper into this, and they find, which you must be, being a chemist, you must be very much aware of this, without changing the chemical composition of the water, you can rearrange the molecular arrangement in such a way that the water will behave completely in a different way than the way it does. To such an extent, it's sensitive to this extent that if I take a glass of water in my hand and just look at it in a certain way and give it to you, well-being will come to you. If I look at it another way and give it to you, you will fall sick tonight. This is no more superstition, this is science. I'll tell you an incident that happened. About 17 years ago, I announced a 90-day program. 90-day program for what? The most fundamental aspect of yoga is considered as bhuta shuddhi. Bhuta shuddhi means… bhuta means you know what? Panchabhutas, the 5 elements in nature. Earth, water, fire, air and space. These are the five elements in nature. It is these five elements… I'm sorry, I'm somewhere… It is these five elements which is the basic components which make this body, which made this planet, which has made the whole universe, isn't it? The whole existence in a way is a play of these five elements. So Bhuta Shuddhi is about cleansing these five elements within the system. How these five elements behave within me will determine the quality of who I am. Based on this, the basic form of yoga is just Bhuta Shuddhi, everything else is an outcrop of that, taught in various bits and pieces by many people without understanding the homogeneity of what it is. But essentially, it's about taking charge of the five elements. You practice Bhuta Shuddhi for a certain period of time and you achieve what is called as Bhuta Siddhi. That means you have total control over the five elements. To such an extent, there is any number of incidents where at the time of death or at the time of leaving their body, a yogi goes into a room, people lock it from outside, he goes in and after a few days they open and he's just not there because he dematerializes himself. He doesn't want to trouble you with a funeral, he doesn't want anybody to carry him to the grave, he just dematerializes his own system. 17 years ago, I announced one program for the first time, 90-day program. Why 90 days is, approximately between 40 to 48 days, the system goes through a certain cycle on the elemental level. This is called a mandala. Every 40 to 48 days, there is a cycle where the system goes through this cycle. So this is the reason if you go to any Ayurvedic doctor or a Siddha Vaidya, he will always give you a medicine for 40 days or 48 days to make use of that cycle, natural cycle in the body. So I said 2 mandalas minimum, 3 would be good, but if I say 3, many things will happen. I said, minimum 2 mandalas, if you do sadhana, you can gain control over your system, those who want to come, you come. And I left the town because I know a lot of drama will happen. Now in a family, husband wants to go for 90 days, wife will do Kathak. Wife wants to go for 90 days, husband acts like Rajinikanth in the house, angry man, walks up and down like a hero. So many things, drama will happen, so I don't want to be there. I said, those who want to come, you come, it's up to you. So after that I came back, to a particular family that I know well. It's a normal part of our hospitality. When somebody comes home, first thing is you bring water. So this lady in the house brought water for me and she's like Kali suddenly, not just Kathak, she's like Kali. I looked at her, she's a nice lady, today she's in the Kali form. So I looked at her and she offered water to me and I said, Amma, I don't need this water, I don't need to drink this water. You're like Kali right now, I don't need Kali's prasadam right now, I'm fine. She said, why will I poison it? I said, no, you don't have to poison it, it's already done. Then I told her, you take a sip from this glass. She took a sip from the glass. Then I said, give me the glass to me. I held it in my hands for 2 minutes and I just gave it to her. You drink it now. She drank one sip and burst into tears and started crying. She said, it's sweet. I said, that's all the difference it is. Now, your body is over 70% water. If the water in this system behaves in a sweet manner, will you be at least 70% sweet? If the air and earth behaves sweetly within you, will you be at least 90% sweet? Space is never bothering anybody, isn't it? So, the essential science of yoga is about Bhuta Shuddhi, taking charge of the elements within the system. Once you have control over the elements in the system, you can also influence the elements around you. Essentially, your whole work with life, your whole work in the world is just with the elements always, in a very basic form, isn't it? So if you have certain mastery over this, you will… what you want, you don't even have to think about it. Your intention, you don't have to generate a thought. Just before you intend, that is how life will work out for you. So success is not an uphill task. If you raise this to a higher place, if you raise this to the highest place it can reach, then everything is downhill. Downhill you can run easily or uphill you can run easily. Definitely downhill, isn't it? So is there any scientific evidence? There's substantial scientific evidence today about how the molecular structure of the water can be rearranged without changing the chemical structure, even with a simple thought or a touch. The problem is, your grandmother told you this, didn't she? Didn't your grandmothers tell you, you should not drink water from anybody's hand, do not take food from anybody, there is a certain way, you must receive only if they have good intentions for you? Did they tell you these things? But when your grandmother said it, the problem is if it goes from the east, it is superstition. If it comes from the west, it becomes science. That's where it is. That has to change. Your generation of people, that's your responsibility to change that. That even if it goes from the east, if it is science, it's science.